Hi everyone, Miss Myra here. So today I'll be going through with you guys on this topic, angles, parallel and perpendicular lines. So same thing, what I need you to do is to watch through this video and then hop onto this website to do your homework over there. And if you have any corrections, I'll go through with you guys. All right, so let's start in a bit. All right, so here's the booklet. So, okay, let's see. 1 second. All right, much better. All right, so look at the pictures below. Some angles are marked in orange. So, okay, what are angles? Okay, so an angle is formed when two straight lines meet at a point. Meaning, for example, can you see this picture with this object over here? Two straight lines, 1, 2. They meet at a point. So that's how an angle is formed. For example, this. Okay. So when you draw an angle, it should be something like that. Okay, so when two straight lines, 1, 2, meet at a point. So there, you form your angles. So that is an angle, all right? Okay, so now let us see. Okay, for this page, circle the pairs of lines that form an angle. So as you can see, what did I say is that for an angle to be formed, two straight lines have to meet at a point. So for example, this one, 1, 2, they meet at a point, right? So yes, you form an angle over there. What about this one? You have one straight line, and also you have another one over here. So yes, we can form an angle over here. Okay, what about this one? C, do they meet? They do not meet at all, right? So basically you cannot form an angle over here because these two lines, they do not meet. Yes, they are straight lines, but they do not meet at a point. So you cannot circle that. What about D? Okay, two straight lines, they meet at a point. So you can also form an angle. There we go. All right, so these are the pairs that form an angle. All right, for this one, there are multiple. One here, and even one here. All right, okay. So, okay, for each pair of lines, mark an angle with this thing over here. Okay, so same thing, 1, 2. Two straight lines meet at a point, we draw. Two straight lines meet at a point, we draw. Okay, and same for this. Okay, so this is how we label an angle. All right. Okay. All right, so mark one angle on each picture or figure. Okay, so what I would want you guys to do is to pause on this page and do C and D for me. Okay, do C and D. All right, let me go through. So let's see. For C, where can you see the angle? Can you see that this is a straight line? This is a straight line as well, and that they meet. So we can draw the angle right over here. What about D? Okay, where are the two straight lines that you see? Okay, let's choose this and this. So there we have it. Okay. All right. So basically that's the concept of angles. All right. So let's see, we can go on to page. Okay, so which angle is a right angle? So, okay, a right angle would be at 90 degrees, meaning, okay, the straight line here is horizontal, and for this part here is vertical, so it's straight. So, right angle means you will form a 90 degrees. Okay, usually for right angle, instead of this curved line, we would do a square one. Okay, that's a right angle. Okay, and then what about an obtuse angle? An obtuse angle, okay. All right, so right angle B. And then what about obtuse angle? An obtuse angle basically is greater than the right angle. So as you can see, your right angle, right? If you were to draw it over here, you can see that this would form a right angle. And I said that obtuse angle is actually greater than your right angle. So can you see that this is actually greater than your right angle? So angle A is an obtuse angle. What about what's an acute angle? An acute angle is an angle that is smaller than the right angle. Okay, so obtuse angle that is, okay, maybe I'll type it up. Okay, this is an obtuse angle, all right? Okay, what about acute angle? So acute angle is an angle that is smaller than the right angle. All right. Okay. So as you can see, let's look at C. It is smaller than your right angle, right? So if it is smaller than your right angle, it should be an acute angle. Okay. So right angle would be two very straight lines, horizontal and vertical. So that would form a right angle. An obtuse angle is when the angle is bigger than your right angle, and acute would be angle that is smaller than your right angle. Okay, let's do more on this. All right, so I would want you to do number 2 and 3 for me. So pause on this video and do 2 and 3 before I go through. All right, so mark two right angles in each shape. So can you see that this is a square? Okay, and a square, all of them are straight lines, right? Horizontal and vertical. So for square, basically all the sides are right angles, but they only want two, right? So let us just do here and here. Otherwise, all the sides form a right angle. Okay, then what about B? Where can you see your right angle over here? So can you see that this and this, they form a right angle. And this, they form a right angle. Okay? So write the number of acute or obtuse angles in each shape. Okay, for A, how many acute angles can you see? Okay, this one. Okay, where is your acute angle? How many acute angles can you see? Okay, so this would form a right angle, right? This and this forms an obtuse angle. Okay, but they want to know how many acute angles are there. Can you see that this is smaller than 90 degrees? There's only one acute angle. Okay, now B, obtuse angle. So let us identify them. This is a right angle. All right, okay. All right, so where's that? All right, so for obtuse, I'll use a yellow ink, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so these are your obtuse angles. Okay. This does not form a right angle because can you see that it's more than your 90 degrees, hence it's an obtuse angle. Okay. So let's move on. All right, so I would want all of you to pause on this video and do number 4 for me. Okay, let's go through. So how many angles are there in this shape? and y. Okay, so are there any angles? Can you see any angles? They are not straight lines. So there are 0 angles over here because these are not straight lines. So how are you going to write your answer? The lines that meet are not straight lines. That is how you type your answers, okay? The line okay, so remember I told you for an angle to be formed, you need to have 2 straight lines to meet at a point. In this case, they do meet at a point, but they are not straight lines. So there are 0 angles over here. All right. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, now I'd like all of you to pause into this video and do this question for me. Okay, so let us identify which angles are acute angles. Okay, as you can see, A, it's evident that it's more than 90 degrees, right? Because if you were to draw your 90 degrees mark, it would be like that. And it's more than 90 degrees. So A is obviously an obtuse angle. So I write O for obtuse. B, what about B? You can see that it's lesser, it's smaller than your 90 degrees. So it's an acute. Okay, same for C as well. Okay, totally can see that it's smaller than 90 degrees. So A for acute. What about D? Okay, D, can you see that it's a right angle? Okay, it's a right angle. So R for right angle. What about E? Acute as well, right? Because it's smaller than 90 degrees. And what about F? F is an obtuse angle because it's larger than your 90 degrees. Okay, so which angles are acute? We've identified them. B, C, and E. Right angle would be D, and obtuse ones are A and F. A and F, yes. Okay, A and F. All right, okay, so I hope all of you got that. Okay, let's see. Okay, I would want all of you to pause on this video and do A for me. All right, so let me go through. So right angle. Okay, fill in the blanks with the names of the angles. So right angle, as you can see, there we go, B. Okay, and what about your acute angle? This is an acute angle because it's smaller than 90, and this is an acute angle as well. So A and C. So basically here, there are no obtuse angles. All right, okay. Okay, now let's see. Okay, pause on this page here and do this question for me. All right, so let me go through. This, as you can see, is a square. And earlier on, I told you that a square, all the sides are right angles. Same for rectangle. So square and rectangle, all their sides form a right angle. So basically, A, B, C, and D. All right. They do not have an acute angle, nor do they have an obtuse angle. All right, so let's move on to D. As you can see, do they have any right angles? No, they don't, right? Okay, what about their acute angles? Let us see their acute angles. So let's look at E. As you can see, it's definitely smaller than 90 degrees because if you were to draw a 90 degrees line, it could see it is smaller than 90 degrees. So it definitely is acute. And then let's look at D. D is also acute. Okay, if we were to draw our 90 degrees, we could see that this is smaller than 90 degrees. So D is definitely acute. And then let's look at B. Okay, so for B, if we were to draw our 90 degrees line, you could see that it's already past the mark. So it's an obtuse angle. And then for D, let's draw our 90 degrees mark. There we go. We could see that it's also past 90 degrees mark. So it's an obtuse angle. All right. Okay, so that's it for this. All right, so I'd like all of you to pause onto this video and attempt this question for me. Okay, let's go through. Now, let's look at A. How many sides are there? There are 4 sides, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sides. How many right angles? As you can see, this is a rectangle. So what did I say about rectangles? All the sides form a right angle. So straight away, 4. No acute angles, no obtuse angles. Okay, A done. Let's look at B. How many sides are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many right angles do we see? 1 over here, 1 over here. So 2. How many acute angles do we see? Do you see any acute angles? Let's draw it out. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So there are no acute angles over here because you can see that this is an obtuse angle. It's more than 90. So is this and so is this. So there are only 3 obtuse angles, no acute angles. Okay, what about C? How many sides are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sides. How many right angles? As we can see, 1. Only 1, right? How many acute angles? Okay, so look at this. And this. And this. So you could tell that this one over here, this one, is an acute angle. So there's only 1 acute angle. And how many obtuse angles are there? 1 and 2, the yellow one. All right. Okay, so D. What about D? How many sides are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sides. Okay. How many right angles do we see? Let's identify them. 1. Where's 1 more? Okay. So let us draw. Here, here, here. 1 more here. And okay, how about I use a different color? Okay, 1 over here. Here. Let me just draw all the angles for you so it's easy to identify, okay? Okay. So where are our right angles? As you can see here and here, right? And also right over here and right over here. Okay, so basically there are 2 right angles. And then how many acute angles are there? Do you see any acute angles? Okay, there are no acute angles over here, as you can see. Larger than 90, larger than 90, larger than 90, and larger than 90. Okay, so as you can see, this greater than 90. So is this, right? So is, okay, look over here. And also right over here. So they are all, they form an obtuse angle, okay? Because they are larger than 90 degrees. Now let's look at how many sides are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 sides. How many right angles are there? Let us draw them out first, all right? Okay, let me just draw all of this out so it's easier for you. Okay, so let us identify. Are there any right angles? No, there aren't. Okay, and then let us see how many acute angles are there. Let's look at, okay, let's look at this one over here. This one and this one. This is an acute angle because it's smaller than 90 degrees. If you were to draw a 90 degrees mark, it's smaller. So there's one acute angle, this one, A for acute. And then let's look at this one. So you can see greater. Okay, as you can see, if I were to draw the 90 degrees mark for you, which is over here, it's greater than 90 degrees. Okay, so is this, and so is this. And this, you can see that it's greater than 90 degrees. So basically there are 1, 2, 3, and 4 obtuse angles. All right. Okay, so what do you notice about the number of sides and angles in each figure? The number of sides and the number of angles. So let us look at A. There are 4 sides, right? How many angles are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me erase all of this. Okay. For shape A rectangle, 4 sides, 4 angles. How many sides? 5 sides. How many angles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 angles. For C, 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 angles. D, how many sides? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? 6 sides, 6 angles. And E, 5 sides, 5 angles. So what do you notice about the number of sides and angles in each figure? Okay, that the number of angles in each figure is the same as the number of sides. Okay. So the number of angles in each figure is the same as the number of sides the figure has. So it's equivalent. All right. The number of angles is equivalent to the number of sides. Okay. All right. So that's that for this. Let's see. Okay, let's do this and then we'll move on to the next booklet. Fill in the blanks with right, acute, or obtuse angles. So shape B has one wide angle. So let us identify them, all right? So there's the right angle over here. This angle, and this angle. So B, as you can see, there's a right angle, there's also an acute angle, right? So you can either choose which one do you want to put. So yeah, you can either put right angle, I'll just put R for right angle, or you can put E for your acute angle, okay? So as you can see, one right angle, one acute, okay, let's draw properly. One right angle over here. Okay, this is an obtuse, so I'll use yellow for obtuse. Okay. And then this is also obtuse. I'll use blue for acute, and this is acute. So there's either, you can write either one right angle or one acute angle. Okay, because here there are two obtuse angles. All right. Okay, so shape A and shape D have no wide angles. So let us see shape A and shape D. Okay. If we were to identify them, this is not a right angle. Okay, here. Okay. As you can see, they do not form any right angles, right? So shape A and shape D do not have any right angles. shape C has more than 2 what angles? Okay, so let us draw them out and identify them. So right angle over here, right angle over here. And then, okay, so what is this? Let me try. Okay. As you can see, this is obtuse. This is also obtuse, and also obtuse. So basically, shape C has more than 2 obtuse angles. All right. Okay. So I'll be uploading the next booklet in a bit. Okay, so next I'll be going through with you guys on this, okay, which is to identify perpendicular lines. Oh my God. Okay, so okay, so identifying perpendicular lines, all right? Okay, so let us see. Okay, where is my pen? Okay, here. So lines that meet or cross at right angles are perpendicular lines. So basically lines that meet or cross at right angles. For example, this one. They meet, okay, and they cross at your right angle over here. So they are called perpendicular lines. This line is perpendicular to this line, okay? We mark perpendicular lines with the right angle symbol. There we go. I taught you previously, the right angle symbol is the square one. Okay, so this is perpendicular to this. Okay, so perpendicular lines can also be found in figures, not only in lines like this. Okay, so in figure ABCD here, AB, as you can see, meets AD at a right angle, right? AB meets AD at a right angle. So basically, we can say that AB is perpendicular to AD. So the symbol for perpendicular is this thing. So instead of writing is perpendicular to, you write AB, you do the symbol is perpendicular to AD. All right, so this symbol signifies perpendicular. Okay. Okay, so circled objects with perpendicular lines. Okay, so you can see this one, they actually form a right angle. So this is one of the objects. And what about B? Let's look at B. Okay, I don't think we can find any right angle, right? This is not this. No. So this is out. And then let's look at C. What about C? Here and here. Yes, they do form a right angle. So this is perpendicular to this. And what about D? D, we cannot find any angles over here. Okay, because they are not straight lines anyway. All right. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so mark a right angle if the lines are perpendicular. So let us look over here. Straight line, right? They meet at a right angle. So we draw our right angle. And then what about B? Okay, B, also they actually meet here. Or you can actually draw here, or even here, or even here. Doesn't matter. All right? Because they actually meet at a point at the right angle. Okay, then let's look at this. As you can see, this doesn't form a right angle because how is it going to form a right angle if I draw this line over here? Then yes, it's a right angle. Otherwise, this is considered an acute angle because it's smaller than 90 degrees. And then what about this? As you can see, this also forms a right angle. Okay, so that is perpendicular. So basically, this line is perpendicular to this line. Okay. Now we move on to parallel lines. What are parallel lines? Lines that are always the same distance apart, but they will never meet. Okay, so they will never meet, but they are the same distance apart. So for example, this one and this one, the two lines are always the same distance apart. This is parallel. Yes, for this one, yes, they are straight lines. They do not meet, but they are not always the same distance apart. Okay, they are not at the same distance. Okay, these two lines are not always the same distance apart, so they are not parallel lines. Okay, this is considered a parallel line. So parallel lines can also be found in figures similar to your perpendiculars. For example, this one, AD is perpendicular to BC. Okay, they don't have to be of the same length. They just have to, okay, so 1 second, let me just redraw that. So they have to be the same distance apart. Okay, they do not have to be of the same length. So how do you show if they are parallel? You do this thing, this arrow. So that's how you show that they are parallel. How are you going to write them? We write AD is parallel to BC. This is a symbol for parallel. So perpendicular would be like that. Parallel would be like this. Okay? Okay. Let's do this. Okay, I would like you to pause on this video and do this page for me. Okay, let's go through. So mark this symbol over here on both lines if they are parallel. So can you see that this and this, they are parallel? All right. And then what about B? So you can see over here and over here, they are parallel to each other. And what about C? Over here and over here. Okay, like I said, they do not have to be of the same length. They just have to be of the same distance apart. And then what about D? Over here and over here. Okay. All right. All right, so over here, mark a right angle if the lines are perpendicular. So A, neither is it parallel nor is it perpendicular, so it's out. And then let's look at B. What about B? As you can see, two straight lines, they actually meet at a point. And this forms a right angle, okay? And then what about this one? As you can see, you can draw your right angle at several places. One over here, maybe over here, over here, over here. So whichever you draw, your answer will be correct, okay? Okay, and I would draw it just over here. And then what about D? Do they form right angles, as you can see? No, they don't, right? You can see over here. They do not form any right angles because the lines are not perpendicular to each other. Okay. Name the line that is perpendicular to EF. So where's EF? This is EF over here. So the line that is perpendicular to EF, as you can see, is GH. Okay, why? Because they meet at a point and they form a right angle. So EF is perpendicular to GH. Okay. Now, pause on to this page and do number 7 for me. Okay, let's go through. So use the symbol to state which lines are perpendicular. So as you can see, A, they do not even meet. Okay, so for it to be a perpendicular line, for it to form perpendicular lines, the lines have to meet. In this case, they do not even meet, so it's out. And then let's look at B. Yes, they do meet. So let us draw a right angle. As you can see, EF is perpendicular to GH. So write down EF is perpendicular to GH. Okay? So that's that for this. And now, mark this symbol on both lines if they are parallel. So let us see. This and this, as you can see, yes, they are parallel. So let us just mark. And then what about B? Okay, they do not meet, they are straight lines, but they are not of the same distance apart. So no, they do not form parallel lines. And what about C? No as well, right? And let's look at D. Yes, they are of the same distance apart and they are straight lines, they do not meet. So let's draw. Okay. Now name the line that is parallel to EF. Okay, this is EF. Which line do you think is parallel to EF? So I want all of you to attempt this question before I go through. Okay, so let's see. EF. Okay, let's look at IG. Do you think it's parallel? No, it's not. Okay, what about DC? Not at all. And then we look at AB. AB and EF. As you can see, yes, they are parallel. So AB it is. Okay, I would like you to pause onto this page and attempt all the questions for me before I go through. Okay, let us see. Now, use the symbol to state which lines are parallel. So this shows that the lines are parallel, right? So as you can see, IJ and KL, they are straight lines, they do not meet, and they're of the same distance apart. So yes, they are parallel. So we put IJ parallel to KL. Okay, and then we look at this one over here. Yes, they are straight lines. Yes, they do not meet, but are they of the same distance apart? No, they are not. So hence, they are not parallel lines. They are not parallel to each other. So we just leave it blank. And then fill in the blanks with this perpendicular symbol or parallel symbol. So let us see AB and BC. As you can see, AB and BC, they meet, right? And they do form a right angle. So they are perpendicular. So AB is perpendicular to BC. And then let's look at AE and BC. AE and BC. Straight lines do not meet. They're of the same distance apart. So yes, they are parallel to each other. I hope all of you got that. Then let us look over here. FG, KG. So yes, they are parallel. They do not have to be of the same length, okay, to be parallel. And then FG to GH. FG, GH. So they meet, right? Form a right angle, so perpendicular. And then FG and FQ. FG over here, FQ over here. They meet, they form a right angle, so they are perpendicular. Okay, and then what about KJ and HI? KJ, HI. Two straight lines do not meet of the same distance apart, so they are parallel. Okay, so that's that for today. I hope all of you understood what I went through regarding parallel and perpendicular lines. So just to recap, for parallel lines are lines that do not meet. They are two straight lines that do not meet and they are of the same distance apart. And the symbol would be this one over here. Okay. This is the symbol. For perpendicular lines, there are lines that meet, that form a right angle, okay? And this is the symbol, okay? And this is the symbol for right angle. Okay, you only draw this for right angle. For other angles would be just this type of curve, okay? So that's it for today's lesson. I would want all of you to hop onto the website to do your homework over there. And if you have any corrections, then I'll see you soon. All right. Okay. So I'll see you again. Bye.